let's talk about the greatest sporting lie America ever sold. The lie that says black excellence in sports is a modern phenomenon, a gift of the last century. We're told the pioneers are names like Jackie Robinson, breaking baseball's color line in 1947. But what about the color line that was already broken and then brutally reinforced? What about the kings who were dethroned, erased, and written out of history? Before Robinson, before Ali, this isn't about boxing or baseball. Here's some black sports history you may not know. The biggest stars, the highest paid competitors, the undisputed masters of their craft, were systematically pushed out until their stories were nearly forgotten. This is about horse racing, and for a brief, glorious period after the Civil War, the kings of the Kentucky Derby weren't just African American, they were American sports superstars. To understand their rise, you have to go back. On southern plantations, enslaved men were often the ones tasked with breeding, training, and caring for the horses. This forged an unparalleled expertise. When the Civil War ended and organized racing began, these men weren't just ready, they were essential. In the first Kentucky Derby in 1875, 13 of 15 jockeys were black, and they didn't just participate, they dominated for decades. The very beginning, in 1875, a 19-year-old from Lexington named Oliver Lewis mounted a colt named Aristides. He wasn't the favorite, but with skill and savvy, Lewis guided Aristides to a stunning victory, securing his place in history as the very first winner of the Kentucky Derby. That day set the tone. Horse racing was a sport where black excellence wasn't just present, it was foundational. Lewis's win was a promise of what was to come. Isaac Burns Murphy, the icon. If there was a superstar, it was Isaac Burns Murphy. Born to enslaved parents, Murphy didn't just ride, he perfected. His reported 44% win rate is a stat that seems almost mythical. It's still considered one of the highest in history. He was the first jockey to ever win 3 Kentucky Derbies, a celebrity who became the highest paid athlete in the entire country. Imagine that. In the 1880s, an African American man was the nation's top earning athlete. He lived in a mansion, wore custom tailored suits, and his name sold papers. Murphy wasn't just a jockey. He was proof of what was possible. James Jimmy Winkfield, the last and the exile. As Jim Crow laws took hold, the violence and discrimination on the track became unbearable. James Jimmy Winkfield felt the shift violently, yet his talent was undeniable. He won back-to-back Kentucky Derbies in 1901 and 1902, becoming the last African American to do so. After being forced off American tracks, Winkfield didn't disappear. He embarked on an incredible exile, becoming a champion jockey in Tsarist Russia and later in France. His story is one of both profound loss and resilient triumph. A world-class talent America rejected, but the world celebrated. Willie Simms, the complete champion. While we talk about the Triple Crown today, Willie Simms mastered its tracks before the series even had a name. He is the only African-American jockey to have won all 3 races that would become the Triple Crown: the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont Stakes. He was also an innovator, popularizing the short stirrup riding style, the monkey crouch, that all jockeys use today. Simms represented the pinnacle of technical skill and versatility, a complete champion in every sense. The systematic erasure. The fix was in. So what happened? How did an entire generation of champions vanish? It wasn't an accident. It was a squeeze. As racing grew more lucrative, white jockeys, threatened by their success, began to violently collude. They would box black riders into the rail, whip them and their horses, and endanger them at full speed. Race organizers looked the other way, fearing for the valuable horses. Owners slowly stopped hiring black jockeys. By 1904, just a few decades after Oliver Lewis's victory, the starting gates at the Kentucky Derby were almost entirely white. The fix, fueled by racism and jealousy, was in. The legacy of these men is more than a footnote. It's a central, tumultuous chapter in American sports history. They were the original sports superstars who reached the summit only to be pushed off the mountain. Today, efforts are being made to redeem their stories, from the Isaac Murphy Memorial Art Garden in Lexington to their well-deserved spots in the Hall of Fame. But their story asks a difficult question. What other chapters of history have been faded, edited, or erased? If you found this story of these lost champions compelling, hit the like button. Subscribe for more Black Sports History.